Because people who may have been like extremely intelligent together were now barely understanding each other and had to go out try to figure out their own languages. And sorry, if you had Tesla in your group, that's great. But if you got Pee Wee Herman in yours, yeah, I'm gonna carve pictures in the caves. Um, Knowledge took a nosedive, and that was God's plan. It was like, okay, with all this knowledge that you have, this is what you're gonna do. You're gonna come after me. Fine, I'm going to mess it all up. So knowledge and everything takes a nosedive at the Tower of Babel, and then you have a few peaks and stuff throughout various civilizations, but it kind of plateaus there as far as transportation and things of that nature until you get to the beginning of the 20th century, and then it goes through the roof. You have the Emelantra workings taking place in March of 1918. Famed occultist Aleister Crowley began a series of magical experiments called the Emelantra workings, in which he is said to have opened a portal to another dimension, allowing an entity, or I would say a demon, named Lamb to enter through it. This is the picture that he drew of that entity in 1918. It's awfully similar to what we would say in pop culture today, alien gray, 1918. His disciple, Jack Parsons, now, with the Emelantra working, supposedly Crowley had figured out how to open dimensional portals to allow these entities in and to close them, according to the literature. Supposedly, Crowley's portal was further enlarged by Jet Propulsion Laboratory founder and rocket fuel scientist Jack Parsons and Scientology and Dianetics founder L. Ron Hubbard in March of 1946 at a location that later became known as Area 51. Their experiment was called the Babylon Working. Like the Emelantra working, it was based on ceremonial sex magic. Unlike Crowley, however, they were not as adept at opening and closing portals. Theirs apparently stayed open, and the modern UFO era began 1 year later in 1947, the same year Crowley died. Now here's another clip regarding alien abductions.
Modern accounts of sexual encounters with aliens date back to 1957, when a Brazilian farmer claimed he was taken on board a ship and coerced into having sex with a strange-looking blonde female with large eyes.
One of the most famous and earliest of the modern extraterrestrial abduction reports is the 1957 case of Antonio Villas-Boas in Brazil. And he claimed that a flying saucer landed in his remote farm. He was taken aboard. While he was there, he had a sexual encounter with this extraterrestrial woman.
That's one of the first abduction cases, and most interesting because it preceded all the others and wasn't well known until years afterwards. So you can't say that Antonio Villas-Boas got these ideas by reading pulp literature.
A few years later, in 1961, Betty and Barney Hill of Lancaster, New Hampshire, reported a famous abduction incident where they were placed naked on examination tables and probed by what they described as gray aliens who extracted eggs and sperm samples.
Now, this is a field of research that I actually kind of got started with, looking into the whole UFO alien thing, because from a biblical worldview, I'm trying to figure out what's going on here. What is this? You can't deny this stuff is happening. This is happening more and more. In fact, a friend of mine who just graduated from seminary was thinking about starting his own Bible school, had watched the first season of Ancient Aliens, and he said, Rob, I know you're into this kind of out there weird research and stuff. He's like, what do we, as Bible-believing Christians, what do we do with this evidence? We can deny the conclusions that they come up with. What do we do what are we supposed to do with the evidence? We can't deny the evidence. The evidence is there. And I'm thinking to myself, wow, I mean, here's a guy who just graduated seminary. He's about to start his own Bible school, and he doesn't have an answer for this.